The security guards grabbed the exhausted single father by both arms while hundreds of employees watched without saying a word. His wrinkled jacket, worn shoes, and old messenger bag made him look like someone who had wandered into the wrong building. The CEO didn't even look up from the marble balcony before giving one cold order to remove him immediately. What nobody noticed was the scratched silver card tucked quietly inside the father's wallet, a card so powerful that, within minutes, every executive in the skyscraper would be standing in stunned silence while the man they had thrown out became the only person whose authority mattered. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness is never weakness, that forgiveness changes lives, and that hope deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share this story with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our growing community. Graham Mercer had not slept properly in weeks. Every morning began before sunrise, preparing breakfast for his 10-year-old daughter, Eliza, braiding her hair after watching dozens of online tutorials because he had promised his late wife he would always make their daughter feel loved. He packed lunches, washed clothes, worked 2 jobs, and somehow still found enough energy to smile whenever Eliza looked worried. His greatest talent was hiding his own pain. 5 years earlier, Graham had been one of the most respected structural engineers in the country. He had helped design hospitals, bridges, and emergency response centers that saved thousands of lives. Everything changed after his wife, Claire, lost her battle with a sudden illness. Grief shattered his focus. He declined promotions, left his prestigious position, and accepted consulting work from home so he could raise Eliza himself. Most people assumed he had simply disappeared. What they never knew was that Graham had quietly accepted a confidential position years before with one of the largest private investment trusts in North America. The organization had created a unique emergency authority program for rare situations where corporate leadership threatened public safety or investor stability. Graham had been selected because of his reputation for integrity, not his wealth. The silver authorization card in his wallet represented that responsibility. He rarely thought about it because he hoped he would never need it. That morning, Graham entered the magnificent headquarters of Black Ridge Tower carrying nothing more than his old bag and a folder of engineering reports. The company occupying the building had recently purchased several aging hospitals scheduled for renovation. Anonymous employees had contacted him after discovering dangerous shortcuts being approved to reduce construction costs. Lives could be at risk if the renovations continued. He had requested meetings through proper channels for nearly 2 months. Every email was ignored. Every phone call ended with another assistant promising someone would call him back. Finally, Graham decided to walk into headquarters himself. The lobby sparkled with polished marble, towering glass walls, and expensive artwork worth more than every possession Graham owned. Employees hurried across the floor wearing tailored suits while barely noticing the tired father waiting patiently near the reception desk. The receptionist offered a polite smile until Graham explained why he was there. Her expression changed immediately. Without an executive appointment, she explained, nobody could see the CEO. Graham calmly placed his engineering documents on the counter and explained that delaying the conversation could place future patients in danger. His voice remained respectful, never demanding. Several nearby executives overheard him. One laughed quietly, another whispered that every company attracted strange people looking for attention. Within minutes, security arrived. The CEO, Sterling Vaughn, happened to be crossing the second-floor executive balcony during the commotion. Known throughout the industry for aggressive cost-cutting and ruthless confidence, Sterling prided himself on making instant decisions. He looked down for only a few seconds, seeing nothing more than a poorly dressed man refusing to leave. He instructed security to remove him before investors arriving for a major presentation saw the disturbance. The order spread through the lobby instantly. 2 guards approached Graham. He never resisted. He simply gathered his papers and quietly apologized for causing inconvenience. As they escorted him toward the entrance, one folder slipped open, blueprints scattered across the polished floor, several pages displayed alarming structural calculations highlighted in bright red. Nobody bothered reading them. Outside the building, one younger security officer named Owen hesitated. He noticed Graham carefully collecting every page before checking his phone. Instead of calling a lawyer or shouting in anger, Graham called Eliza's school. He apologized because he Might be a little late picking her up after classes. That he sounded far more worried about disappointing his daughter than about being humiliated. Something about that conversation stayed with Owen, just as Graham prepared to leave. He reached into his wallet searching for a family photo. Instead, the silver card slipped onto the sidewalk. Owen bent down to return it. The card felt unusually heavy. There was no company logo, only a silver crest, a unique authorization number, and one sentence engraved beneath Graham's name: Emergency Executive Authority. Owen had served 8 years in military security before joining the private sector. He had seen similar credentials exactly once during specialized corporate protection training. His expression changed immediately. Very respectfully, he asked Graham if the card was authentic. Graham quietly nodded. He admitted he had hoped never to use it. Owen suddenly realized the enormous mistake unfolding around them. Inside the tower, executives were preparing a live investor presentation worth billions. Outside, the one individual capable of overriding the entire executive structure was walking away carrying dangerous engineering evidence no one had bothered reviewing. Owen requested permission to verify the credential. Graham reluctantly agreed. Within 4 minutes, 3 encrypted verification calls traveled through legal offices, investment trustees, and regulatory partners. Every response confirmed the impossible. The silver card was genuine. It had not been activated in almost 7 years. It also possessed authority exceeding the CEO's until an emergency review concluded. The atmosphere inside Blackridge Tower transformed almost instantly. Phones rang non-stop, lawyers hurried across hallways, board members abandoned meetings. Sterling Vaughan was interrupted mid-presentation by his chief legal officer, whose face had turned completely pale. The presentation ended without explanation. Investors watched executives rush from the room in visible panic. Outside, Graham was already halfway toward the subway station when 3 black vehicles stopped beside him. This time, nobody grabbed his arms. Instead, directors, attorneys, and senior board representatives stepped out. They apologized sincerely. They requested that he return voluntarily. Employees lining the lobby froze as Graham walked back through the same doors only 30 minutes after being removed. The security guards who had escorted him out now respectfully stepped aside. No one laughed anymore. Sterling descended from the executive floor wearing the same confidence he always displayed, but uncertainty now shadowed every step. He expected an angry confrontation. Instead, Graham calmly thanked everyone for allowing him another opportunity to explain why he had come. He placed his engineering reports across the boardroom table. Every page documented hidden structural failures inside multiple hospital renovation projects. Critical support beams were scheduled for replacement with cheaper materials incapable of surviving major earthquakes. Fire safety systems had been downgraded. Emergency exits had been redesigned below legal standards. The projected savings looked impressive on financial reports. The human consequences would have been catastrophic. Silence filled the room. Independent engineers reviewed the calculations. Every number proved accurate. Sterling's confidence slowly disappeared. He had trusted cost summaries prepared by ambitious executives chasing quarterly profits. He had never personally reviewed the technical details. His obsession with efficiency had created an environment where no one questioned dangerous decisions. For the first time in many years, he recognized that leadership without humility could become incredibly destructive. The emergency authority granted through Graham's silver card immediately suspended every affected contract pending investigation. Construction crews received new instructions before lunchtime. Government inspectors arrived later that afternoon. Lives had been protected because one father refused to stop trying. News of the incident spread quickly through financial circles, but Graham refused interviews. Instead, he left the tower on time to collect Eliza from school. She ran into his arms carrying a drawing she had made during art class. The picture showed the two of them standing together beneath a bright blue sky. Across the top she had written that her father always fixed broken things. Graham smiled through tears because she had no idea how true those words had become. Meanwhile, Sterling remained alone in the boardroom long after everyone else departed. For years he had believed authority meant never admitting mistakes. That afternoon shattered his understanding. He spent hours reading employee complaints previously ignored by senior management. He discovered talented workers who had resigned after warning about unethical practices. He found anonymous letters from engineers begging leadership to slow down. Every warning had been buried beneath layers of bureaucracy. The following week, Sterling made the most difficult decision of his career. He publicly accepted responsibility. He dismissed executives responsible for concealing safety concerns. He established independent review panels. Most importantly, he invited Graham to help redesign the company's entire safety oversight system. Graham declined the executive's salary offered to him. Instead, he requested something far simpler. He wanted scholarships created for single parents studying engineering and architecture. He wanted childcare assistance for employees raising children alone. He wanted anonymous safety reports protected instead of ignored. Sterling agreed to every request. Months passed. The company slowly rebuilt its reputation, not through expensive advertising but through honest actions. Hospitals reopened with stronger foundations than originally planned. Employees felt safe speaking up. Young engineers learned that integrity mattered more than pleasing powerful supervisors. The scholarship program changed countless lives. Single mothers and fathers who had nearly abandoned their education finally earned degrees. Many eventually joined the company, bringing compassion. Shaped by personal struggle, Graham continued living in the same modest home. He still packed Eliza's lunches every morning. He still braided her hair before school. Success never changed his routines because those quiet moments remained the richest part of his life. One sunny afternoon, nearly a year after the incident, Blackridge Tower hosted a community celebration honoring workers, families, healthcare staff, and scholarship recipients. Instead of unveiling another luxury project, the company dedicated a new public atrium to the principle that every voice deserved respect, regardless of appearance, job title, or social status. Sterling invited Graham to stand beside him. Before hundreds of employees, he admitted that the greatest lesson of his career had come from the man he once ordered security to remove. He explained that character could never be measured by clothing, confidence, or first impressions. Real leadership began by listening. The applause lasted several minutes. Graham looked toward Eliza standing proudly beside the scholarship students. She smiled exactly the way Claire used to smile. In that moment, Graham realized that the hardest years of his life had not defeated him, they had quietly transformed him into someone capable of changing thousands of lives simply by refusing to surrender his values. Before we reach the end of this journey, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment sharing a time when someone looked beyond appearances and chose kindness, or tell us the lesson you believe this story teaches. As the afternoon sun reflected from the glass walls of Blackridge Tower, Graham slipped the silver card back into his wallet. It had never been about power, revenge, or proving anyone wrong. Its greatest purpose had been reminding everyone that true authority belongs to those who protect others with humility, courage, and compassion. The card could command a skyscraper, but Graham's greatest strength had always been the gentle heart that carried it. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember that every person you meet is carrying a story you cannot see, and sometimes the quietest stranger in the room is the one capable of changing countless lives forever.